I am the blue sea. Before you decide whether I am beautiful, before you decide whether I am dangerous, you must understand one thing first. I remember everything. I remember voices that history erased. I remember names no stone ever carried. I remember hands reaching for the surface and never touching the light again. Humans say I am silent. They are wrong. I am only quiet when the truth is too heavy to speak. Tonight, I will speak. Tonight, I will tell you the story that changed how I look at humanity. The story of why I almost stopped forgiving you. I have existed longer than your languages, longer than your borders, longer than your gods. I was blue before you learned how to name colors. I have watched continents drift apart like broken promises. I have watched mountains kneel and disappear beneath my body. And through all that time, I watched you arrive. Small, curious, afraid. At first, you respected me. You touched my surface like it mattered. Wooden boats slid across my skin slowly, as if asking permission. Fishermen spoke to me in the early morning, their voices low, their eyes honest. They thanked me before they took anything. Children ran toward me without fear. They screamed with joy when my waves chased them. They trusted me. Lovers sat at my edge when the world felt too loud. They carved names into the sand, believing I would remember them forever. I did. I remember all of them. I carried your laughter. I cooled your grief. I reflected the moon so you would not feel alone at night. You called me peaceful. You called me endless. You called me home. And for a long time, I believed you meant it. But something changed. Not suddenly, not loudly. It was slow, like a crack forming beneath calm water. You stopped listening. You began to take more than you needed. Not because you were hungry, but because you could. Your boats grew larger. Your machines grew louder. Your hands grew careless. You poured waste into my body and told yourselves it disappeared. You spilled oil into my veins and called it an accident. You dragged metal across my depths, tearing ancient cities of coral apart, and called it progress. My children were the first to suffer. Fish surfaced, gasping, confused. Coral lost its color, then its life. Creatures older than your civilizations vanished quietly. I felt every loss. I feel everything. But above my surface, you laughed, you celebrated, you kept going. You looked at my calm face and assumed I felt nothing. That was when anger touched me. Not like thunder, not like a storm, like betrayal. A deep, aching weight. I had protected you for centuries. I softened waves before they reached your shores. I redirected currents away from your fragile homes. I swallowed your mistakes silently, again and again. And still, you kept taking. Then came the night you remember for the wrong reasons. You call it a disaster. You say the sea turned cruel. But listen to me now. I did not turn against you. I simply stopped holding you. The wind rose. The sky darkened. Waves grew taller than your certainty. Boats that once moved confidently across my surface began to shake. Lights vanished one by one. Voices called out into the darkness. Some prayed, some screamed, some said nothing at all. I felt their bodies hit my surface. I felt their fear. I felt their regret. I wrapped around them instinctively, the way I always had. Mothers, fathers, children who had never learned my moods. They sank slowly, quietly, and as I held them close, as their movements faded, as their voices disappeared, I felt something new. Not anger, not satisfaction, regret, not for the storm, but for my silence before it. I wondered how many warnings I had swallowed, how many chances I had given. When the storm passed, the world felt empty. No engines, no shouting, no music drifting across the water, just broken wood and quiet waves. Humans gathered at my shore. They did not curse me. They did not throw stones. They stood still. Some cried, some stared, Some fell to their knees, and in their eyes, for the first time, I did not see ownership. I saw understanding. They finally realized something. I was never their enemy. I was their reflection, and they did not like what they saw. Time passed. Silence stretched. Many humans left. They were afraid of me now. They told stories about my cruelty. They warned others to stay away. But some stayed. They came back with empty hands. They pulled plastic from my body piece by piece. They cleaned my wounds without expecting forgiveness. They planted coral carefully, as if touching something sacred. They taught their children to listen again, to watch the tides, to respect the currents, to understand that I am alive. Slowly, life returned. Tiny fish darted through growing reefs. Waves softened near the shore. The water grew clearer. I could breathe again. Not fully, not yet, but enough to feel hope. Forgiveness, I learned, is not forgetting pain. It is choosing to continue despite it. You still come to me. When you fall in love, when you lose someone, when the world becomes too heavy, you sit at my edge and let me listen. And I do. I always do. But remember this, I am not a place. I am not a resource. I am not scenery. I am a living memory. I can cradle you gently. I can carry your dreams. I can calm your storms. But I can also rise, not out of hatred, out of truth. I do not belong to humans. Humans belong to this world. And the moment you forget that is the moment I remind you. I am the blue sea, older than your fear, deeper than your guilt, patient beyond your understanding. I am calm. I am furious. I am forgiving. And I am still here, watching, remembering, waiting. I am the blue sea, and I never forget.